Hi everybody, this is Vicki with About Ordinary Women. I've got a couple questions lately about how I put wire on my polymer clay cabochons. A lot of people have asked if I've embedded it in the raw clay and then baked it. I have done that. I don't do that very often. What I like to do is make nice little cabochons like this. And I make stacks of them. I use extra stuff to do it. And they hang out, and then I do projects with them. Wire wrapping, I bead around them. I do a lot of different things with them. I add them to other polymer clay projects. But I did have a few people ask me about how do I do the wire on it. So I thought I would show you a very, very basic and very simple wire technique that I do. I'm very beginner to wire reading, not beginner. I'm probably advanced beginner intermediate. I don't know a lot of the hard and fast rules. I don't know a lot of the terms for wire wrapping. Like I said, I'm pretty much just flying by the seat of my pants on this, like I do most of my projects. Sometimes I come up with something really great. Sometimes it's a total failure. This happened to be a wonderful success. Now, how I do this very basic one is I have me a nice weave right here, which is going to be the base for my cabochon, and I wrap the wire around the front, which secures it in place. What's nice about polymer clay cabochons is the weight of them versus your stone cabochons. That is probably my biggest thing with these. I can do a pair of earrings in this size. I could not do this in tiger's eye. I couldn't do this in any other stone, and most glasses either. They're too heavy. It's too heavy on your ears. But polymer clay is really light compared to your average stone, let's say tiger's eye. It's about a third less the weight. That is a huge difference. That opens up a whole new world for wire wrapping and wire wrapping bigger things to go on your ears. A lot of us like to wear big earrings. Some of us like to wear really petite earrings. You can do wire wrapping on really petite earrings too. Well, kind of petite, but smaller earrings, smaller cabochons. So this is the one I'm going to show you today. So let's get our supplies together and let's get started. Okay, the first thing you're going to need your cabochon. You are going to need a base wire, which I am using 20 gauge, which is a nice, good base wire. I'm using copper, dead soft. You can use any color you want. You can use it dead soft. You can use it half hard. I wouldn't go with total hard. Just wouldn't. You're going to need a weaving wire, which today I'm going to be using the 26 gauge weaving wire. I like to use the 26 or 28 for a weaving wire for this size project. You are going to need an ear wire. Either make your own, or you can already have one. Do any color you want. You can use any color of wire you want too. You're going to need a pair of flush cutters. You're going to need a pair of round nose pliers. Let's see if you can get that. Flush cutters, round nose pliers. You're going to need a pair of chain nose pliers. That's all the basics that you have to have. Now, some of the things that are nice to have is a pair of nylon jaw for straightening your wire. I like to use these almost a needle nose, but not required, but nice to have. If you're going to do a bail on, say, the pendant like this one, you're going to need bail making pliers, or you don't have to have them. You can use a pencil. Nice fact, you don't really need all these extras. It's nice to have them if you got them, but you don't need them. So let's get our supplies together and let's get started. Okay, you're going to need some base wires, and you're going to want to straighten your wire. You're going to want the length to be at least 4 times the length of your cabochon. Let me get this down here where you can see it better. From here to here, the length of your cabochon, you're going to want it at least 4 times. That may be a little much wire and you have to nip some off, but I'd rather start out with more than start out with less and end up with a problem. The weaving wire, I have a tendency to, I like to leave it on the spool. It's just more convenient for me. I know a lot of people would go ahead and pull it off. I don't unless it's a specific project that I know for sure how much wire I'm going to use. Okay, you're going to want your wire as straight as you can get it. And you're going to want to go a little bit below halfway point. I mean, the wire's still going to be movable in here, so that's not a big thing. I'm going to start the back of my wire because I'm going to bring my things up over and I'm going to secure my wire by just a couple of single loops. That's it. And then push it together because I will be leaving that on there. We're going to add another base wire in. Sit it next to it, but kind of make sure that it doesn't get too tight, and then just kind of fold it up, and I'm going to go over twice. And then I'm going to come through the first and second wire. Push it down, fold it up. Sorry about that. I'm going to add my next base wire right on top of that one. And I'm going to come over through 1 and 2, push it down, go over it one more time, but instead of going through 1 and 2 again, I'm going to bring it all the way back down and come up through 2 and 3 and push it together. That's going to be my pattern all the way around. Hope you can see that. So we're going to come up through 1 and 2 and spread your wires out a little bit. You can always straighten them back out, which as long as you don't leave kinks in them, they can be straightened back out. Come up through 1 and 2, wrap it over, come up through 1 and 2 again, push it down, wrap it over, push your wires together. You want your weave to be pretty close, but go all the way around the back, come up and go through 2 and 3. Push it down, come up around and go through 2 and 3 again. And then come up through 1 and 2. And then around, back through, across 2 and 3. Up through 1 and 2. And then back around again. Push everything together and you're ready to start over again. You're going to do this, what I'm calling the length of my cabochon. Which, if you will look here, so I'm going to want to take my weave from there, and I'm going to want to stop it right at this point. Okay? So, let's get this done, and we'll get back and we'll get started again. Okay, we're making our last wraps now. If you look at your cabochon, you want where you started your weave. Don't worry about this little tail wire, but that's going to be nipped off. Where you start there, hopefully you can see it. And you know I'm a little bit shy. I'm going to do 2 more here, and then I'm going to secure my weaving wire right here with 2 wraps, and then I'm going to nip it off. And that's going to give me the length that I need for doing just this project. So we're going to do 2. And I'm always compressing my wire, that's what you see me when you see me pushing down. I'm just compressing it. Okay, and then we're there, and then we're going to just do 1, 2. I hope you can see that. And then we're just going to nip off as flush as we can. I like to nip off back here because this is the side that is going to actually be going inside the cabochon. I'm going to be flattening my wire out anyhow, but I'm sorry about that. I need to get out here so I can see the nip. Okay. Ah, there it goes. Being hard to get along with. Okay, you want to take your chain nose pliers and just flatten down that little tiny wire. Now it's going to be on the inside of the cabochon, on the inside, so it's not going to really cause a problem. but I still like to always flatten out my wire a little bit. Yeah. And you can tell that by feeling. If you still feels rough, then you just flatten some more. Just flatten it out. Okay, you want your wires about even. If they don't look too even, you can pull your wires a little bit, which is nice. You can just take a pair of your chain nose pliers and then pull a little bit. Mine's about even, so I'm not going to really need to do that, but you can do that. And the next thing is where you did your single wraps, that's where you're going to take your first wire and you're going to bend it at a 90-degree angle there. Let's see if I can get that. Just bend it at a 90-degree angle. You can do the same thing on the other side. Bend it at a 90-degree angle. Now this wire is going to want to move, and it can move at this point. That's okay. I'm not worried about that. As long as it's parallel to each other on this side, we're good. Now you're going to have to look straight across because your weave is actually at least a couple millimeters shorter than this side. So you're going to have to kind of eyeball it, that you're getting it bent at the 90-degree on this side. Just a second, I got to get here where I can see, and then I will come back. Okay, I'm about even up there, I hope. And then we're just going to bend it out the 90 degrees. If it looks like it needs to be a little bit more, go ahead and do it. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Just go inside there a little bit with your pliers and then bend out at the 90 degrees. If it looks like, see, that one's a little bit tight, so I'm going to bend this up a little bit, and then I'm going to bend out a little bit more here. And then do them parallel. This is actually the easy part now. You're going to set your stone right in the center there. And I'm a little bit short on this side, so there we go. You're going to set your stone or your cabochon, whatever piece it is, and you're going to go ahead and bend your wire up like that. You're going to press forward, hold it, and then take the bottom part and then just bend around backwards to where you're going to give a little loop like that. When you get to that side, you might need to just fiddle around with a little bit and hold it like this. Make sure it stays in the center. I know this part's a little fiddly, but just kind of keep your wire there and then just going to bend your wire right back over, like so. Like that. You're going to do the same thing with the bottom side. You're going to bend up. Let's see if you can see that there. You can turn it around if you need to. Bend up, hold it. Oops. It's wanting to go away on me. It's harder to do this on camera than it is to do this without a camera. Hold it there, and then just bend it around till you got a little bit of a loop there. Bring it around that side, and then just bend it to the back. It captures that part of the cabochon. You're going to do the same to this side. Make sure your wire's in there snug. You're going to bring this up, and you're just going to up like this, and then you're just going to bend it around. You need to bend that one out of the way a little bit. Just bend it around. Takes a little bit of practice, and then just bend it back around behind the cabochon, and you've captured that side. This last one, amazingly enough, is usually the easiest one. Not amazing enough, that's about normal. Okay, you're going to bend it a little bit, and then you're just going to bend it around this side. Okay? And I've captured the cabochon. You're going to flip it over. Here, you're going to take your nippers. Now, you can do really creative with these and do fancy swirls and everything. I'm going to keep it very basic, so I'm just going to give myself a little nip up here on this other side and curl my wire in a little bit. Make sure you kind of keep your wire there a little bit, so hold your wire lid, that way it doesn't go flying everywhere, because it will try. And set just a little bit on this side. however much you want for your little loop. Make sure you're flush cutting towards your piece. Now you're going to take your round nose pliers, and you're really just going to take it to the very end, and you're going to create a little loop. And you're going to coil it up a little bit. However much you coil it is up to you. I like to coil a little bit, but I actually do it to all 4 of them before I start manipulating it further. Just coil it around. Whoops. You just want to get a hold of the very end and then just make yourself a little coil. Same with this side. Now, this is where what I like to do here. I take me a pair of little change nose pliers, and I like to kind of manipulate my wire down. I'll even squeeze it down a little bit. I want to tuck it underneath that right there. Can you see where I'm tucking it? I like to tuck it underneath. It just add a little bit of security. You don't have to do this. I don't always do it, but I try to do as much as I can. Just kind of gives a little bit secure, and it keeps those little loops from ever catching on anything if they're tucked up underneath there. You can just squeeze the wire down. Make sure this is centered up. Now I'm doing a little bit of a coil on the bottom of mine. This bottom wire, you could coil it back. You can do all kinds of things with it. Here's another good thing to do with your nylon jaw pliers is I'm not 100% happy with that bend. So I'm going to use my nylon jaw pliers to bend everything in and then to squeeze it down so it holds better. This keeps from marring not only your wire, but it keeps from marring the polymer clay, which can happen. Okay, I'm just going to nip down here a little ways. Now, if you want it exactly like the one over there, you probably should measure it. I've kind of figured out now where my point is that I need to do it. Yep, I need to go the opposite direction. And you want your little things going the opposite direction. This one's going that way, so I'm going to do this one this way. Just coil it around. When I get to there, I take my chain nose pliers and I just coil it around. And then I just fold it up. It also gives it a little extra added security right there. The top, you would make it like any other bail. Since I'm doing ear wires for this, I'm going to tube my bail sideways like this instead of going back. Just bend over. I like mine about the midway point right there. I'm just going to bring it all the way around. Hold it with my chain nose pliers there. I like to grab a little bit of my end, like so, and I just bring it up around. It just gives me a little more leverage and gives me a little tighter wrap. And I give myself a good 3 wraps. You can go more, or you can go less, but you want at least 2. I like 3 because that's what I left myself room for. In the back, flip it over, just give it a little nip, take your chain nose pliers and flatten it out. Flatten that where you nipped off out. Add your ear wire. Never pull like this, always pull back and forth. And very simple, very easy, and very, very quick. That didn't take me longer than 15 minutes to do. So, I mean, in an hour, you could have a pendant and a couple pair of earrings. Great for a night on the town. Great to give as a gift or a present, especially a last minute gift or present. If you want me to show you any of the other wire stuff I do, I'd be more than happy to. If I can, I may even just point you in the direction of where I was shown how to do it. Me personally, I have a tendency to take different techniques from a bunch of different people and create my own. That's because I'm kind of stubborn that way, and I always do things the hardest way before I decide that maybe I probably should listen to them. And sometimes I create something really good and something unique that's pretty much just all me. This technique is pretty much all me. I have never seen anybody do it quite like this. But I'm not saying it hasn't been done. I just have not seen it. Like I said, this was a couple different techniques all mixed together. But have fun, be creative. If this video helped you or you liked it, please like my video down below. Subscribe to me. If this didn't help you and you were looking for something different, I am really sorry. I hope you do find what you're looking for. You can always leave me a comment down below and I can see if I can help you out. I'm all about learning and sharing, so be creative, have fun. See you on the next one. Bye.